If you think love alone protects you, you've already lost. They say love is blind, but in this world, it's not blindness that destroys men, it's trust. Because the truth is, in today's dating culture, the person most likely to break you isn't your enemy. It's the one you swore to protect, the one who promised to love you forever. Men everywhere are waking up to the same nightmare. The woman they built everything for suddenly turns cold, distant, detached. She stops looking at you like you're her world and starts looking at you like you're in her way. You gave her your time, your money, your loyalty, your peace, and one day she decides she's unhappy. No warning, no remorse, just gone. And somehow, you're still the villain in her story. This isn't just heartbreak. It's psychological warfare dressed up as self-discovery. It's a system that rewards betrayal and punishes devotion. A culture that tells women to chase excitement and tells men to stay quiet while they're destroyed. You've seen it happen, good men losing everything: the house, the kids, their sanity, and the world claps for her courage to leave. No one asks what it cost him. No one cares what he lost. So ask yourself, how did we get here? How did love turn into a contract you can break for fun? How did loyalty become weakness and betrayal become empowerment? Because until you understand what changed, you'll keep walking into the same trap, giving everything to someone who was never planning to stay. Stay till the end. I'm going to show you exactly why this keeps happening and what every man needs to know before it happens to him. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Women didn't suddenly change. The mask just came off. For generations, women had boundaries built around them, not because men hated them, but because society understood one brutal fact: female choices shaped the survival of civilization. Your grandmother wasn't more loyal because she was built different. She stayed because walking away had consequences. Divorce meant shame. Infidelity meant exile. Reputation meant survival. Today, those guardrails are gone. The consequences disappeared. And so did the restraint. When society told women, you can do whatever you want and nothing bad will happen, the floodgates opened. What we're seeing now isn't evolution, it's exposure. You're finally seeing what happens when desire has no brakes. Modern culture calls it empowerment. But what they really unleashed was chaos. Women were told they could have freedom without responsibility, equality without sacrifice, and independence without accountability. And they took it. Who wouldn't? The system gave them every reward with no cost. Now, loyalty feels outdated. Marriage is a gamble where only one side can lose. The old code, the silent contract that once held relationships together, has been rewritten. Love used to mean building something that lasts. Now it's about extracting what you can before you move on. And it's not because women are evil. It's because every message around them says, you deserve better. You can always upgrade, never settle. Every magazine cover, every influencer, every show repeats the same mantra: if you're not happy, leave. That programming runs deep. Men still love like it's 1950. Women date like it's 2050. One side's playing for connection, the other's playing for advantage. That's why good men keep getting blindsided, because they're still believing in promises that expired decades ago. And until you understand what changed, not just in women, but in the world that shaped them, you'll keep mistaking programming for love. Because this isn't personal, it's systemic, and it's only the beginning. The truth is, betrayal didn't become more common by accident, it became profitable. Every part of modern society quietly rewards the woman who walks away and punishes the man who stays. When she decides she's unfulfilled, the world rallies around her. Friends call it bravery. Therapists call it healing. The court system calls it justice. She leaves with half of what he built, custody of the kids, and the sympathy of the crowd. He's left with bills, debt, and the echo of his own confusion. It's not just a breakup anymore, it's an extraction. And the machine runs perfectly. Lawyers get paid. Therapists book more sessions. The media gets a story about female empowerment. And the man who played by the rules becomes another statistic, another broken believer. You've seen it happen. A husband working 2 jobs just to provide, and one day, she says she's not happy. Overnight, he loses the home he paid for, the children he raised, and the years he can't get back. Nobody calls it theft. They call it growth. That's the system now. Freedom for her, responsibility for him. Every safety net built for protection has turned into a weapon. Divorce laws, alimony, custody bias. They all tell the same story: she can destroy everything and still come out ahead. And here's the cruel part: society celebrates it. Pop culture packages female betrayal as self-discovery. Songs, talk shows, influencers. They sell the fantasy that walking away is power. The girl who cheats or files first isn't shamed. She's applauded for finding herself. Meanwhile, the man who stayed loyal, who sacrificed, who believed, becomes the villain in her new narrative. The world doesn't see his pain. It only sees her performance. That's why so many men don't even fight back anymore. They think being silent is noble. They think forgiveness will fix it. But all it does is prove the system right, that no matter what she does, she'll still win. And until that changes, betrayal will stay the easiest way to succeed. The system didn't just remove consequences, it rewired women from the inside out. From the moment they're young, they're told a story that sounds empowering but ends in destruction. Every movie, every talk show, every influencer repeats the same mantra: you deserve more. It sounds harmless, but over time, it becomes a trigger, a quiet whisper that says, if you're not happy right now, leave. Girls grow up believing love should always feel like fireworks. That commitment without constant excitement means something is wrong. That patience is weakness. That loyalty is settling. So the moment a relationship becomes real, when the thrill fades and real work begins, they start scanning for an escape. It's not malice, it's conditioning. They've been trained to see themselves as the main character and everyone else as part of their personal growth arc. The husband becomes a lesson. The family becomes a phase. The next man becomes alignment. And the culture rewards it. Every time a woman leaves a stable relationship to find herself, she gets applause. Every time she chooses desire over duty, she's called brave. No one tells her that fulfillment doesn't come from chasing butterflies. It comes from building something that lasts. Even the language has changed. Cheating is exploring. Divorce is self-care. Betrayal is healing. Every word designed to make destruction sound noble. It's psychological camouflage, a way to turn guilt into empowerment. Meanwhile, men are told to be understanding, to communicate more, to forgive faster. The more patient he is, the more contempt she feels. Because deep down, she's been taught that a man who tolerates everything must not be worth respecting. So she leaves, not because he failed, but because the script told her that staying means weakness. That's the programming, and it's everywhere. In the classroom, in her phone, in her friends. A constant loop teaching her that Happiness is always somewhere else, and that loyalty is for fools. Don't wait till it's too late. Learn how to protect your peace. Now. When the dust settles, she walks away, but he's the one left living in the wreckage. Most men don't crash loudly. They collapse quietly. They keep working, keep showing up, keep pretending they're fine while something inside them dies. Because when a man loses the woman he built his life around, he's not just losing love, he's losing meaning. He replays every moment, trying to understand how it fell apart. The nights she turned cold, the excuses, the lies that didn't sound like lies at the time. He questions his worth, his judgment, his entire reality. And the worst part, the world tells him to man up. Nobody cares when a man breaks. There's no hotline for fathers who lost everything. No empathy for the husband who sacrificed his dreams just to be replaced. He's told to take it, to move on, to keep paying for the privilege of being forgotten. Meanwhile, she's already rewriting the story. Online. She's the victim. To her friends, she's the survivor. Every post becomes part of her new identity he was controlling. He didn't meet my needs. I finally chose myself. Society eats it up because it fits the narrative, the strong woman and the silent man. But silence is where men die. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually. They stop trusting. They stop opening up. They stop believing that love is anything more than a temporary illusion. That's the hidden cost of betrayal. It doesn't just destroy families. It rewires the way men see women forever. It turns protectors into ghosts. It makes good men swear they'll never love again. And the world loses something every time that happens. Because when men lose faith in love, civilization loses its builders. Families crumble. Children grow up fatherless. And the cycle repeats generation after generation, each one colder than the last. That's the fallout nobody talks about. Not the divorce papers, not the money. The quiet death of belief. And once that belief is gone, everything else starts to fall apart too. If betrayal used to take time, now it takes Wi-Fi. Technology didn't just change how we meet, it changed how we cheat. The same phone that once held family photos now holds secret conversations. The same apps that promised connection have become tools of destruction. Social media gave women a weapon men never saw coming: unlimited attention. Every like, every comment, every DM is a small hit of validation, a rush, a reminder that there's always someone watching, someone waiting, someone better. And once that loop starts, reality never feels enough. While he's working, she's scrolling. While he's planning their future, she's testing her options. A single selfie can pull in more male attention than her husband ever could. It's not even about cheating, not at first. It's about the dopamine, the endless praise, the illusion of choice. But that illusion kills intimacy. When you can get validation from 100 strangers, one man's love starts to feel ordinary, routine, replaceable. Dating apps made it worse. Now betrayal fits in your pocket. One swipe, and she's in a new conversation. 2 swipes, and she's got a backup plan. The thrill of attention becomes addictive, and addiction never stays innocent. It always escalates. Even professional spaces aren't safe anymore. Instagram becomes a marketplace for fantasy. LinkedIn becomes a backdoor for emotional affairs. Facebook reconnects her with old flames who remember her at her best. The past and the present blend and boundaries blur until nothing feels wrong anymore. And here's the cruel twist: the world cheers her on. Society calls it freedom. The same behavior that would have once been shameful is now seen as empowerment. Technology didn't liberate love. It monetized loneliness. It turned human connection into currency: likes, follows, attention, and people trade loyalty for it every day. That's why betrayal spreads faster now. Not because people are worse, but because temptation never logs out. And if you don't understand how that system feeds itself, you'll keep thinking she changed when really, the world just made it easy for her to forget you existed. Love used to mean building something that could survive storms. Now it means staying only while it feels easy. We live in a culture allergic to discomfort. The moment tension appears, people call it toxic. The moment effort is required, they say they're not aligned anymore. Nobody wants to fix things. They want to replace things. That's why relationships keep collapsing. They aren't built to last. They're built to entertain. People treat love like a subscription cancel anytime. No consequences. And every time they leave, they tell themselves they're growing. But all they're really doing is running. Commitment used to be sacred because it was hard. You had to work through boredom, frustration, temptation. You had to learn patience. Now the world says if you're not happy 24/7, something must be wrong. But happiness isn't a constant, it's earned. Women are taught that marriage is a cage. Men are told commitment is weakness. Together, they create a world where loyalty is rare and selfishness is normal. Everyone's chasing freedom. But nobody realizes freedom without discipline is chaos. Social media made it worse. It constantly whispers that there's something better out there. A better body, a better lifestyle, a better partner. So even when you have someone good, your brain keeps scrolling for perfect. And what happens when people believe they always have options? They stop valuing the one they have. They trade stability for novelty. They burn down their own homes for the thrill of starting over. That's why love doesn't last anymore. Not because people can't love, but because they've been programmed to think lasting love is boring. And instant pleasure is freedom. The truth is, nothing stable can survive in a world addicted to stimulation. When loyalty competes with dopamine, dopamine always wins. And the more we normalize that, the closer we get to a world where marriage is obsolete, not because it failed, but because nobody remembers how to stay. When families collapse, the damage doesn't stay inside the home. It spreads like a virus, quiet, invisible, generational. Every broken marriage leaves behind two stories. One is hers, polished, justified, celebrated. The other is his silent, buried, forgotten. But the story that truly matters is the one told by the children. Kids grow up watching love turn into war. They see loyalty punished and betrayal rewarded. They learn that promises mean nothing and that affection can vanish overnight. They stop believing in forever before they even understand what it means. Boys grow up without fathers. They never see strength mixed with gentleness, authority mixed with love. They learn masculinity from screens instead of men. They don't know how to lead, how to protect, how to sacrifice. They just learn how to survive. Girls grow up without seeing what a good man looks like. They mistake attention for affection, power for respect, control for care. They chase chaos because that's the only love they've ever seen. The cycle keeps repeating. Broken parents raise broken kids, who grow up to build broken homes. And every generation sinks a little deeper into confusion, loneliness, and distrust. Meanwhile, the system profits. Divorce fuels lawyers. Dysfunction fuels therapists. Fatherless homes fuel government dependency. Drama fuels entertainment. Every institution that should protect the family now feeds on its collapse. We used to build nations on strong families. Now, we build economies on broken ones. And the scariest part, nobody's trying to stop it. Because stability doesn't sell. Drama does. That's why you'll never hear the truth on TV. Because chaos is profitable and happy families don't make anyone rich. So when you see the world falling apart, remember, it didn't start with politics or money. It started when people stopped protecting what mattered most. Because once the family falls, everything else is just waiting to follow. At some point, every man has to wake up. Not with anger, but with clarity. You can't fix a system that's designed to break you. You can't save someone who benefits from your destruction. The only thing you can do is adapt. Modern men have to unlearn everything they were told about love. You were taught that patience earns loyalty, that sacrifice earns respect, that doing everything right guarantees happiness. It doesn't. In this world, those old rules get you punished. The truth is simple. You can't negotiate desire, and you can't buy loyalty. You can only command respect through boundaries, discipline, and self-worth. A man without boundaries is a man waiting to be destroyed. That's why you have to rebuild differently. Stop chasing approval. Stop trying to prove your value to someone who doesn't value herself. Stop living like love is the prize and you're the applicant. The new reality demands strength, emotional, financial, spiritual. You protect your peace the way your ancestors protected their villages, with vigilance, with clarity, with readiness to walk away from anything that threatens it. That doesn't mean bitterness. It means awareness. You can love, but don't worship. You can give, but don't sacrifice yourself. You can commit, but never without accountability. Every man who wakes up becomes harder to manipulate, and that's exactly what this world fears. Because a man who can't be emotionally blackmailed can't be controlled. So build yourself first. Protect your resources. Guard your time like it's sacred. Because it is. The system only wins when men play by its rules. The moment you stop playing, it loses power. And maybe that's the quiet revolution, not anger, not revenge, but awareness. Because when enough men stop being naive, the world that feeds on their pain begins to starve. If nothing changes, the future isn't freedom, it's emptiness. We're already seeing it. Fewer marriages, fewer families, more lonely people staring into glowing screens, pretending they're okay. Men checking out, women growing bitter, children growing confused. The collapse isn't coming, it's here. Every broken home becomes another crack in the foundation of society. Every man who stops believing in love becomes one less protector, one less builder, one less father. And every woman who mistakes freedom for isolation wakes up one day with everything she wanted, except peace. This is the cost of pretending that betrayal has no price. We traded stability for stimulation, loyalty for attention, love for validation, and now we wonder why nobody's happy. If men don't wake up, if they keep playing the same game, hoping for a different result, they'll keep getting destroyed by the same system that rewards their pain. And if women don't wake up, they'll keep mistaking empowerment for emptiness until it's too late to go back. Society can't survive without trust. Families can't survive without loyalty. And men can't survive without purpose. When those three things disappear, civilization eats itself alive. The future won't be full of strong women and weak men. It'll be full of lonely people disconnected, distracted, addicted to attention but starving for meaning. That's where this road leads. Not liberation, but decay. Not equality, but entropy. So if you're hearing this, understand, this isn't about hating anyone. It's about seeing clearly. The world doesn't need more bitterness. It needs more awareness. Because when men understand the game, they stop playing like victims. They start moving like leaders. And maybe, just maybe, that's how everything begins to change. Not through anger, not through revenge, but through awareness and the courage to walk away from the fire while there's still something left to save. So maybe this isn't the end of love. Maybe it's the end of illusion. The truth was never meant to make you comfortable. It was meant to wake you up. Because once you see how the system works, you can't unsee it. You stop chasing ghosts. You stop begging for fairness. You start moving with purpose quietly, powerfully, on your own terms. And that's where real freedom begins. Not in revenge, not in control, but in awareness and the courage to never let anyone write your story again. Walk away smarter, stand taller, and never forget, clarity is the new power. If this message hit you somewhere deep, don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button and join the men who refuse to stay blind. Drop a comment below. Tell your story, your lesson, your truth, because every man who speaks out helps another one wake up. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement, one built on awareness, not anger, on strength, not bitterness. So subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Let's rebuild clarity, one truth at a time. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.